They weren't exactly best of friends during the campaign, but First Lady Michelle Obama and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton were all smiles today at the State Department, a moment that a lot of people are talking about. We'll have that. Two of the most powerful women in Washington get together. Why the First Lady and someone who knows that role very well managed to upstage even the president.
I had the privilege of participating in a historic campaign with a historic candidate who we now have the privilege of calling Madam Secretary.
And he was referring, of course, to Secretary of State Hillary Clinton there. She and First Lady Michelle Obama were the headliners at the day's other big event. For that, we go to our political daily briefing. Randy Kay here with more on that. Randy.
Hi there, Campbell. The President of the United States isn't upstaged very often, but today the marquee event in Washington, D.C. wasn't centered around him, but around his wife, First Lady Michelle Obama, and his former rival, current Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. They were both center stage at the State Department's Awards for Women of Courage.
Thank you. It is my great pleasure and honor to introduce the First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama. Let me thank Secretary Clinton, I love saying that, for that kind introduction. I have said this before, but the woman who is running this department, this big, huge effort, has always been such a committed person, friend, supporter to me. We are honored and thrilled to have her serving in this role.
You wouldn't know it listening to them, but they actually weren't there to honor each other, but rather to award these other women. But these two women have had, boy, an extraordinary couple of months.
They sure have. If you take just first, let's take a look at Michelle Obama. First Lady Michelle Obama, besides transitioning her daughters Sasha and Malia into life at the White House and, of course, new schools, she's used her more traditional First Lady duties to focus on what's shaping up to be one of her favorite causes, healthy eating, whether at a White House event or on a recent trip to a soup kitchen with a focus on fresh, healthy food.
Collect some fruits and vegetables, bring by some good healthy food. You know, we want to make sure that our guests here and across this country are eating nutritious items.
The First Lady's also visited a slew of cabinet agencies where she's taken advantage of all of the attention on her to pitch her husband's plans to get the economy back on track. Now, another major item on Mrs. Obama's agenda is helping military families, and tomorrow she will use her first official trip outside of Washington, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, to focus on support available to soldiers' families.
We're going to be watching that and talking about traveling with so much of the focus here at home on the economy for the Obamas. That's allowed Secretary of State Hillary Clinton to kind of have the world stage to herself.
She owns it out there. She certainly does, and she is making the most of it already, taking two major overseas trips. She's met with the Russians, the Indonesians, Palestinians, and Israelis. She's using her considerable political skills and probably maybe a few old connections, trying to rebuild America's image abroad. But is this part of what Secretary Clinton had in mind when she talked about a new strategy of smart power, or part of her stagecraft as Secretary of State? Last weekend, during a trip to Turkey, she appeared on that country's version of The View, part of a charm offensive, if you will, in a country where just 2 years ago, only 9% of people had a positive view of the United States. Secretary Clinton ended up taking some questions that had absolutely nothing to do with her foreign policy and the country's foreign policy, but a lot to do with her husband, the former president.
When was the last time I fell in love? And it was so long ago with my husband, I'm trying to remember. We go to the movies, we talk and play games together, card games and board games. We go for long walks. I try to do that every chance I can with my husband.
When was the last time you were in love? Wow, and they thought the press in the U.S. is tough. Well, the joining of Mrs. Obama with the Secretary of State creates a visual symbol, our experts tell us, that is enormously powerful. Just the coming together of these two women creates a very positive image for women around the world, which is
see
important.
if we see more of them together on the world stage.
I think we will. They seem to really enjoy each other's company out there today.
We shall see. Randy Kay for us tonight. Randy, thanks.
It's not over until the lady in the pantsuit says it is.